Let's talk about it, chat. Marvel Rivals. We all know that Marvel Rivals is winning. I mean, Wildfire stuff it's not, but to get this damage is crazy. Yeah, the damage of it is kind of a little bit insane in my personal opinion. So I don't know, man. But yeah. But anyways, let's talk about Marvel Rivals, chat. Everyone's been playing Marvel Rivals. You know, everyone's been getting hooked on the Marvel Rivals hype and everything. It's been pretty fun, honestly. I cannot deny it. The gameplay is very fun. You know, that is technically my first hero shooter that I've ever played, which is very interesting. But we all know someone else is having a struggle fest with their player base, which is Overwatch. And we have ourselves a video from Legendary Drops to see what is happening, and might as well check it out, right?
Marvel Rivals is a threat, and I don't think people really understand exactly what's going on here with this game. We are seeing player retention on a scale that we haven't seen since Helldivers 2, and even still then, it's beating out what was a worldwide phenomenon at the time. 4 new playable characters, 3 new maps, new match types, all kinds of new content that's coming into the game. This game is a major disruption for not only the AAA industry, but also just the live service industry across the board because, well, it's a game that's serving its fans. It's meeting the demands of its audience, and that kind of goes against the creed of many live service games that are out there. They don't really like to give us too much.
The problem is like there's nothing wrong with live service games. The problem is like we have shitty live service games. That's the problem. That is like one of the big major problems that we have, because all of the live service games that we have are just fucking shit, man. Like, honestly, like Skull and Bones, for example, the Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League is the other one, you know. What's another one that we had, like Concord. I forgot about Concord, to be honest. What other live service that was like that also did pretty poorly off the top of my head? I can't really think of them off the top of my head, but yeah. Like, Marvel Rivals is like doing fucking fantastic because number one, they're carrying their fan base and the comic book enthusiast and hero shooter enthusiast, you know. That's why Deathsport AC Shadows will survive.
You usually like to drip feed things a little bit, and it ends up, well, upsetting the fans, and that's one of the reasons why this game is getting so much support. Imagine listening to your audience. Such a foreign topic nowadays. We're now hearing rumblings or rumors at the very least that there's a PvE mode that's in development as well, so we're going to talk about
if they add PvE into this game, it's over. Overwatch is dead. It's completely Overwatch is just completely dead if they add the PvE mode into this game. Straight up, like, no joke.
That imagine Blizzard would be in shambles if they actually released one. That would be NetEase. You could do the funniest thing. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all things Marvel Rivals, from the new content to its future to those that would stand in the way of its success, and why this game is going to be a problem many can't ignore.
And you know what the craziest thing too about it is that they're adding 4 characters in the first season, and Overwatch can only add 1 character at a time because it takes so long for them to create a character. That's the wildest thing. We need BR too? No.
We are now 1 month out from the launch of Marvel Rivals, and the game hasn't showed any signs of slowing down or stopping. Historically, when we see a popular game release, live service or not, we tend to see the game surge in the week of its launch, and then players that aren't interested in the game start moving on, and the player count kind of falls to find its dedicated audience. However, in the case of Marvel Rivals, we're seeing the opposite. We're just now a month past its launch, and we're consistently seeing the game hold over 400,000 concurrent players on Steam, less than 50,000 down from its peak.
I heard this went up to 600,000 players. Apparently, it broke its last high player count, apparently.
To put that into perspective, when Helldivers 2 lit the internet on fire earlier last year, its release surged up to 458,000 players and then dropped to 334,000 players after its first month.
But then it dropped also a little bit more significantly because of the whole Sony thing.
30% of its players from its peak. Marvel Rivals has lost 9. That is absurd because that means that this game is either replacing players that are leaving the game with new players that want to try it out at a near 1-to-1 ratio, or the players aren't leaving the game, which likely it's probably a blend of the two. Players are actually sticking around to keep playing the game, and the players that are leaving are getting replaced with new players. And there's a lot of reasons for this game's continued popularity. One of the reasons for this, I think, is that the game is being consumed so much on social media. While I know that there's a lot of people that are out there that don't think social media presence of a game is indicative of its success or its player base, from my perspective, the more people that are consuming content around the game, the more people that are playing it. On Twitch, when the game released, it surged up to 227,000 viewers, many of the biggest channels receiving sponsorships, and some players were just interested in playing the game, and now it's sitting at an average of 100K viewers daily, making it one of the top categories on the platform.
God lord, holy shit, dude, that is pretty how's it doing now, actually? Let's take a look at it, because we always like to take the look at it at the very moment, right? Let's go jump over to Twitch real fast. Let's see. $130K at the moment. Right now, it's literally the second one at the top right now. Damn, dude. That is pretty fucking crazy, to be honest, to kind of see that. I don't know about Paladins, to be honest. I played Paladins. That's crazy. 130K. Sheesh. It's the gameplay. I like the gameplay a lot more than the heroes, so. Where's Overwatch? Oh, you're right. Hold up. Yeah, you're right. We need to check. Where's Overwatch at? I just want to see where Overwatch is at. You're correct. You're so right. Let me see. Where's oh, here it is. Overwatch down here. They're on the 3rd row. They're the 3rd row of the last one. They just barely beat Anime Squad. What the fuck is Anime Squad? What the fuck is this? This is an actual game? I have no idea what this is. It's like a bunch of random animes, I guess. You can watch Japanese TV shows, I guess. I have no idea what that is, so. Dude, if they get like what is it, 200 more views on Anime Squad actually beat Overwatch. That's a little bit crazy. Dynasty War, I know the Dynasty Wars is all the way out here right now at the moment. Path of Exile is doing pretty well too as well. Yeah, everything's doing all right. That's crazy. Overwatch is right here. Marvel Rivals is up here. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy to see that.
YouTube videos covering the best plays, the best players, tier lists, and gameplay are totaling millions of views, and Twitter and Reddit are overflowing with fan art and cosplays of the game's heroes. Both the ranked and casual modes in Rivals are thriving, which honestly is pretty rare to see. The casual mode is drawing in all types of players, whether they're just here for fun or just don't want the pressure of ranked matches. At the exact same time, the ranked mode is keeping the competitive crowd engaged, with plenty of players that are grinding to climb the ladder, participating in tournaments.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Some of those people who are getting angry in bronze and silver lobbies, they need to recheck themselves, to be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're getting upset in bronze and silver lobbies, you're not that guy, okay? Maybe it's just you who is probably the problem at the end of the day. I've had a few games or so where literally people were getting so upset in bronze and silver lobbies. It's like, bro, it's not that serious, okay? If you're expecting like god tier gameplay in bronze and silver lobby tiers, you need to recheck yourself, okay? I'm sorry, but you just need to you need to come back to reality. You're in bronze and silver lobbies, okay? There's a reason why you're in these lobbies, okay? All right?
And all kinds of different things. The game is offering something for everyone.
Also at the same time too as well. Can we just stop instant locking DPSs as well? Like, I do that, but I'm like, because I'm tired of playing fucking tank and healer most of the time. Mostly tank, because I've been playing so much tank or so one day. I just got sick and tired, and I just wanted to play DPS because I was so bored and tired, so.
And that's why it's working so well. Now the game is getting its first major update with Season 1, featuring 4 new characters in the Fantastic Four. Susan Storm and Mr. Fantastic are up first, and then in the second half of the season, we're going to see the other 2 characters. We're also getting new maps with the Sanctum Sanctum.
They are the god players. They are just not getting healed, not tanking. Sure. Right, totally. Yeah, yeah. When literally Iron Man in the sky is literally just sitting up there and nobody's doing anything, you know? The amount of games that I've seen that Iron Man gets to do whatever he wants in the sky is the most craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Forum and Midtown that are going to drop in the first half, and Central Park in the second half. Plus, there's going to be new game modes and objectives, keeping things fresh for the players. And the whole time that they've been developing all of this new content for the game, the developers have been, well, genuinely listening to player feedback, engaging with their community directly, tackling issues
That's
in
true.
the game, balancing performance issues with characters like Hawkeye and Hela, and bringing up lesser characters like Cloak and Dagger.
Well, Hela is still broken, to be honest, so they really didn't change anything from her.
They've been cooking. Now we have a prominent leaker for Rivals at Rivals Info on Twitter who's been digging around the game files and has shown off a lot of skins that hadn't made their way into the game and then later did, and more skins that we're likely going to see in the future. Recently, they shared that they discovered project files for PvE content that's either in development or was cut from the game. While we have no word on what the status of this potential PvE mode is, if Blizzard saw potential in it, then likely NetEase has as well. And honestly, it would be the funniest thing ever if they actually implemented meaningful PvE into the game where Overwatch failed to do so. This is something that genuinely could attract a completely different audience into the game and also give more players a reason to stick around.
That is very true. If they actually manage to add a PvE, you're going to bring in more audiences at the same time, keeping those same audiences as well to try out the PvE section. They're right. It's the healer's job to shoot down Iron Man. Right. Yeah, totally.
What's truly fascinating about all of this is that most modern live service games would never and could never deliver on this sort of content or be this ambitious, especially for free. Most live service games, especially shooters, ignore any issues that are in their games. Maybe they will throw in a single player map or minor changes to existing ones. They'll occasionally drop a new character or weapon. Apex Legends, as an example, just revealed their update at the exact same time as Rivals announced their first season, and all they're offering is cosmetics. Overwatch 2 did the exact same thing. While watching a mass exodus from their game, they chose to release recolors of existing skins to try to entice players back to their game. Reading through some of the comments on these announcement videos, you can see an outcry from fans begging them to fix issues within their games, livid that the games that they've invested so much in won't invest in them or even try to fight back against new competition that has stepped into the market. This kind of goes back to a broader topic that I've discussed in the past many times on this channel by now, but many of these modern live service games just don't have the respect for their audience that's necessary to keep players happy or to keep them around. Each update only serves to increase their bottom line by introducing more microtransactions and cosmetics.
Yeah, because I played Apex Legends, and there's been a lot of issues that I had with Apex Legends with some of the small things that I've hated about it, you know. Overwatch, I've never played Overwatch, never even touched it, never really cared. That's about it, you know. The only thing I know about Overwatch is just the Rule 34. That's basically all I know about Overwatch. It's just the Rule 34. Literally, the Rule 34 literally keeps Overwatch alive. And that's it. Like, that's literally it. I've had one person in Marvel Rivals when I was playing in Plat lobby. I was playing in Plat 2 lobbies. There was this one Venom that came after me, and he literally was messaging me saying that, like, hey, Sunaka, were you playing May or so from Overwatch? And I'm like, no, I've never played Overwatch. Okay, like, I've never played Overwatch whatsoever. And they're like, yeah, sure, buddy, okay, because every time I keep diving you keep running away. And I'm like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock, of course, because I'm not gonna let you fucking kill me, of course. I'm like, you're diving me for a reason, and I'm just gonna get away, you know. And I'm just kind of like, and I killed them every single time. They always try to dive me every so often, right? Which is kind of funny. And for me personally, it was just kind of like, I'm just like, I'm just like, I don't really care. So I literally told him, yo, I only play Call of Duty. Like, I've only played Call of Duty as an actual shooter, right? And I've never even bothered playing a hero shooter. Overwatch never really interested me. It only interested me in the beta, and then that was pretty much it.
rather than meaningful content or addressing player concerns or just general issues within their games. I mean, look at the state of Call of Duty right now. While Black Ops 6 was received pretty well at launch, it has reportedly lost over half of its players, and it's getting worse by the day.
Yeah, because they're not really, because there's a bunch of hackers in the what is it, in the ranked thing. Also in the their Warzone / BR game is also doing really fucking terrible too as well. And to be honest, the worst part about it is just overall in general is like the problem is like there's just hackers, you know. They have like the soft aim lock, the soft auto aim, the soft they have the recoil reduction where literally like nobody has any recoil whatsoever on their guns, you know, because people actually do use that, and they use the Cronus Zen stuff and everything, you know. They're just not really caring, dude. They don't care. All they care about is just the skins that they sell in the store, and that's pretty much it, you know. Like I stopped playing Call of Duty. Like I was playing it for a couple weeks at the beginning because it was actually pretty fun, but then after a while it's just kind of like, I was just not really enjoying it now because of the maps were terrible. Number one, the maps were terrible. Straight up, the maps for that game is actually god awful, to be honest.
All of this is driven by the fact that players aren't satisfied. They watch as these studios continue to deliver the exact same thing. Nothing changes. There's no advancement. They won't fix issues within their games. They let cheaters run rampant, yet they have no problem releasing cosmetics and new battle passes. This sends the signal to the players that your experience or your enjoyment don't matter. Only your money does. The biggest threat to the video game industry is the fact that players have learned how to vote with their wallets.
Damn, the players learn how to vote for their wallets? Damn, it took them that long, huh? It took them that long, right? Wow, it took you this long for you guys to acknowledge that your wallet actually matters? Damn, dude, that's fucking crazy, man. I've been here for such a long time by myself that it's crazy to hear that. Woo. Welcome to the party, man. Welcome to the party. Honestly, what took you guys so long? Oh my lord. Oh my god, honestly. Breaking news. Players have finally learned how to vote for their wallets, chat. Breaking news, chat. The video game industry people have finally learned how to fucking vote for their wallets. Crazy, chat. This is a major development in the fucking industry for the fucking gamers, man. They finally learned how to use their brains. Anyways, moving on.
And I just love to see it. I
Hey,
love
Cat.
to watch them struggle, and the struggle is going to get real pretty soon here. You have to respect where the money comes from, and many of these studios have lost sight of that. And I think it's just because they've got so comfortable sitting in their seat-sweet offices, sitting back, drinking their, bottle of water with waifu stickers all over it and saying, these idiots, they'll buy anything. They'll still play it. And they're right, because we're impulsive creatures. It's what we do, but what ends up happening?
Hey man, they love being abused, man. They love eating shit, man. As what Asmongold says every single time, they're dick eaters, you know? They just enjoy eating dicks, you know? Call of Duty fan base enjoys eating dicks every single year, you know? Hey man, it is what it is, right? If that's what they like to eat, well, that's what they like to eat at the end of the day.
When the game across the street treats us better. You didn't think about that, did you? Anecdotal, I know, but I loved Warzone when it first released. I had so much fun playing it. A lot of people get pretty nostalgic about Verdansk, but I also...
Nah, Warzone isn't the play, bro. Blackout was the actual, true, legit fucking BR game that was the best. Fuck Warzone. Blackout was the best. Man, fuck this shit with this whole Warzone shit. You weren't there. You guys weren't even there. But if I vote with my wallet, they end of service, then my investment's gone to drain. Better keep supporting them and keep the game alive.
Also clearly remember
Blackout was better. Blackout was the better BR game, to be honest.
How often they would go unalleviated, and how easily they would introduce microtransactions and skins and battle passes. How many times the stim glitch came back into the game. Skins that would release that would make players invisible.
I remember that.
There's like the one time that they had like the helicopter glitch, and then they fixed it, and then it made another glitch happen, and then another one, and then another one. It went on for like 3 months.
Yeah, it usually happens when it comes to game development because usually because I have a friend or so, right? Like I said, like I have a few people that I know that's part of the industry for gaming or so that actually makes games, right? So apparently when it comes to like coding itself, right? Like you fix one thing but another thing breaks. You know, it happens. It usually happens. The problem is, right? They take forever to fix it. Call of Duty takes forever to fix their shit. That's the problem. But usually my friend tells me, yeah, it usually takes a bit to try to find the source of where to fix it. And it usually, once you fix that thing, usually something else breaks. But from time to time, if you know what you're doing, it shouldn't be breaking other things. But when it comes to Call of Duty, well, that is a different story. So I don't know what Call of Duty is doing over there, but that's a different story over there. So we don't talk about that, you know. We don't talk about that.
Meanwhile, they never did anything about any of the cheaters in the game. Warzone today still suffers from those same issues.
Oh yeah.
It's the same story.
Oh yeah.
Because none of those things ever get fixed because they're never a priority, because the players are not a priority. We are the afterthought. It is our money that is the first thing that they want. And the only way they can get that is through microtransactions. But what they don't realize is that if these games are not in the state that they need to be, and you're not feeding the players with good enough content, they're not going to stick around, and you're not going to get the microtransactions if we're not playing the game. That's kind of how this works. When I look around the games industry right now, I see a lot of these live service studios that have gotten fat and comfortable and greedy.
They're fat because they're Americans. That's why. Their microtransactions didn't break though. What are you talking about? Yes, they did. A lot of their microtransactions do actually break. Actually,
it's like I said before. All they want to do is take. And the only time that they ever want to give back is when their backs.
It was the one of the things that broke or so was the unicorn skin that they added in Call of Duty, and what is it? One of their skins from the Warzone one actually like made you go invisible. So yeah, it does. So it does break. Payment. Okay.
Marvel Rivals is about to line them all up. Too many live service games are doing the absolute bare minimum while squeezing their players dry with microtransactions.
I don't even play Apex. I don't even play any of those anymore, so.
That is the reason why Marvel Rivals is seeing such an outpour of support, is because the players feel like they're heard, they're getting content that's worthwhile to them, and the game has a bright future.
It does. It actually does.
It's as simple as that. It's a company that respects where the money comes from and knows what the players want and are delivering on it.
Yeah, man, they're making like fucking skins from the comic books. Of course, you know, the skins from the comic books are a little bit more, at least for Mrs. Fantastic, right? Or, well, yeah, I say Mrs. Fantastic because if I remember correctly, she's married to Mr. Fantastic, that's why. But Invisiwoman, like the skin that she had just recently came out, right, is the one that's like doing the most popularity because they know their fan base. And plus also this specific skin is from the comic book itself. So you can't really say that like they're over sexualizing the characters when, number one, right, the costume from the comic book is even more sexualized compared to the one that they added in the game itself. But it's very interesting to see people getting mad about it, which is completely stupid in my personal opinion, you know. But overall, yeah, like I said, they know their player base, they know their fan base, and you know their skins that they're making. It's pretty, yeah, it's good. Like I'm not a fan of the Invisible Woman skin just because I'm not a fan of edgy skins. It's just not really my type of cup of tea personally. It just feels like too much of an edgelord. But his name is not even Fantastic. Okay, buddy.
Sadly, there are those that would like to stand in the way.
I'm not using their real names. I'm using their hero names, so.
Rivals has too many heroes for its own good.
If you tell me their real names, I'm gonna be like, who the fuck is that?
A litany of issues that they have with the game and why they believe it should take notes from Overwatch. Jade writes, Marvel Rivals arrived with one hell of an impact, but as the dust clears, some obvious flaws are now plain to see. The lack of role queue is one major omission.
I think it's fine. The lack of role queue is fine in public games, but I think in ranked, it should be in ranked at least. But at least like at gold and above, at gold and above, there should be role queues, but you know, but it's fine. It's fine if it's below that, to be honest. At the end of the day, because they do add freaking they do add what is it? Picks and bans on diamond level. So yeah.
Is already making effective team play.
I don't really care about Marvels. I don't really care about Marvel, to be honest. I'm not a superhero person, so if you tell me their names, I'm gonna be like, I have no idea who you're talking about. So
this is a problem with Overwatch 2, but role queue has made it much easier for you to form teams you know have a decent chance of winning if you work together. No Limits asks you to throw this aside for some chaotic fun where emerging victorious doesn't matter, but in Marvel Rivals, that is the only way to play, so it's impossible not to criticize. Right now, I spend games playing support out of obligation, preventing me from trying out other heroes. The lack of role queue isn't a flaw, it's the game's strength. Rivals gives players the freedom to play and
yeah, like at the end of the day, right? These are superheroes, right? You get to play whoever you want at the end of the day. But I think it's better like if they put it in ranked or so to some degree, either like in gold or in plat or something like that, you know?
Rather than forcing them into a pigeonhole because they were too late to join a match or they were too late to pick a hero. Meanwhile, Overwatch 2 has made people miserable with its role queue, and players have been complaining about it for years. This reeks of somebody that's trying to drag Marvel Rivals down to Overwatch's level of mediocrity. If they can't see that freedom is exactly what makes this game great, then
it's still fun. It's still fun overall to kind of like see different team comps, right? There was one specific game that somebody wanted me to do 3 healers and 3 tanks just because a Hawkeye was one-shotting them, and I'm like, no. I'm not gonna play a healer. So I was playing DPS, and I'm like, I wasn't doing super great in the first half, so I'm just like, all right, then I'm just gonna switch to a different character. So I just swapped to a different character, and we were just doing fine. So he's right. Everyone should have the rights to play 6 DPSs. That shit was fucking. That shit's funny to see, to be honest.
From my perspective, not every game has to be.
There was one specific game that we won. We specifically won this game where they had like 4 DPSs, 1 healer, and 1 tank. It was a sight to be seen, to be honest.
Specifically tuned so that you can roleplay as an esports player in your 30s. I've seen many people posing the question as to why Marvel Rivals is succeeding right now, and Tim Sweeney put it perfectly: fun. That's the reason.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
And trying to bog it down with competitive tools isn't going to make it any better. I don't know about everybody else, but I am sick and tired of every single third-person and first-person shooter becoming a toxic sweat fest.
Oh man, I know. Tell me about it, dude. Fucking Call of Duty itself, man. The matchmaking algorithm, the SBMM in that game is so fucking annoying that it just makes the game so unfun, to be honest. Plus, also on top of that, the I don't like the engine specifically for that game. I like the old engine personally.
Average at these kind of games. I know I'm not that good at them, but I just like to have fun playing them. The vast majority of people are average or below, and catering to the competitive end of these games is exactly how you push out the average player.
Yeah, to be honest, for you to be actually catering to like what the 5% of the player fan base, the tryhards and everything like that, you're gonna kill the game like almost instantly, to be honest. Like straight up. Why do you think Call of Duty has kind of been going down? Because of the, you know, their annoying SBMM is kind of irritating. Every single game feels like I'm always competing at like the highest tier level for some apparent reason. You know, it just kind of makes it super unfun. I can't even like play it for that long, to be honest. I just there's not even no point of like even logging in and playing it half the entire time.
The writer then goes on to discuss how Marvel Rivals is a hero shooter built on one of the most iconic licenses in gaming, but argues that the game being free to play creates an unrealistic expectation for players to simply enjoy being the heroes without needing to learn complex mechanics and understand their roles. They complain that the game's focus on mechanical skills disrupts the power fantasy that would be enjoyed by single-player games like Spider-Man or Batman, where the challenge is just personal gratification. The conclusion that the writer comes to is that even during its beta period, the roster was stacked with a staggering number of playable heroes and villains to choose from. In the lead up to its launch, more additions were confirmed for the roster, making it hard to determine who I would main and if I would even have enough time to learn the ins and outs before their release. Turns out that I didn't. And now the sheer act of playing Marvel Rivals is daunting. Once again, I find myself comparing it unfavorably to Overwatch. Overwatch launched with 21 heroes, while Rivals stepped out of the gate with 33, just 11 shy of how many Overwatch 2 has now. And it isn't an original universe, as it has decades of media to draw from when it comes to its roster, but that also means that there is less potential for future additions, and some of its biggest names can't be capitalized on because they've been here the entire time. For the first few years of its existence, Overwatch turned each new hero into a legitimate event. You would follow...
Wait a minute. Is this the same article where like that one person was like complaining about Marvel? This is what it feels. This is what it sounds like, to be honest. That literally is what it sounds like to me. I think I've heard about this article before.
Each update and tease with fervent anticipation, waiting to find out exactly what role they might fill and what they would look like. This won't happen when Rivals adds Sentry. Every new hero was unexpected, but for Rivals, it feels like we're already having to temper our expectations after NetEase jumped the gun on its A-listers. I could be proven wrong, but right now, I'm not very excited about new heroes coming to Marvel Rivals because we're already dealing with an excessive roster. There's no moderation and a desire to give players a temporary power fantasy instead of easing them into things. This will only hurt the game in the long run, and feeling that way right now isn't a good sign.
I don't know about this. I'm gonna have to disagree with this specific comment or so. Whoever this person is, whoever wrote this article is definitely haven't done the research or so. Take a look at Dragon Ball. What is it? Dragon Ball Z. What is it? Dragon Ball Z Kai or so, or whatever. Or Sparking Zero. That launched so many fucking characters. Everyone was having a blast with that game. You know.
The roster is daunting is a bit of a reach. Having a large roster might seem overwhelming, but the game's mechanics at a character level really aren't all that complicated.
No, it's usually the same. What is this, like a shift, Q, E? Some of them have F, you know? Some of them have a space, you know? Left click, right click. It's usually all the same. It's usually the same layout for every character, you know, when it comes to abilities.
The kits are designed to be easy to understand.
And the funny thing about it is like the mechanics for all the characters, like the button presses and everything, were the same as well in Sparking Zero, which is the same thing here in Marvel Rivals. All the heroes here have the same like key inputs. Some of them have a little bit more, some of them have a little bit less, right? But it's not like over complicated. It's not crazy. It's not anything. Like, it's pretty straight fucking forward of what you need to do, you know?
So even if you're a new player, you can quickly grasp what each hero does.
Yeah.
It's not about learning complex mechanics. It's about learning to get the feel for each character's abilities,
yeah,
and how to figure out how to use those abilities strategically. This accessibility is what's allowing 20+ million players to play the game right now.
At a balanced cost.
Enjoy it right off the bat, despite having a large roster. I'm sitting here wondering whether or not this writer lives under a rock. This game's accessibility isn't hindered by its vast roster, it's enhanced by it.
Yeah.
Marvel has thousands of heroes spanning different universes,
yep,
eras, and realities. Of course, this game is going to feature some of the most iconic heroes to
yep,
draw players in right out of the gate. That's exactly
from like super iconic heroes to down even the lower iconic heroes as well. Because I had never heard anything about Squirrel Girl, you know, and now I know a little bit about Squirrel Girl, but I don't know that much, to be honest. All I know is that she defeated Thanos somehow. Yeah.
What people want, but we all know these characters. Everyone recognizes Spider-Man's web slinging, Storm's weather powers, Wolverine's claws,
yeah,
Iron Man's lasers.
Yeah.
The familiarity with these characters is what makes this game so approachable for both fans that are casual players or hardcore players. This isn't League of Legends where you have to sit back and figure out all these different intricate mechanics and how each one of these characters work from scratch. With Marvel Rivals, we already have a solid foundation as to what these heroes can do, thanks to decades of media exposure. The diversity and depth of the roster is actually a huge part of the reason why.
Yeah, I know. I just said that. Yeah, I just said that she defeated Thanos.
Would make this game not what it is. People have their favorite heroes, and the promise of even more of
I heard you also beat Doctor Doom.
Marvel Rivals is going to somehow run out of recognizable or meaningful characters is just, I'm gonna say, it's fucking stupid.
It is a pretty stupid comment, because you want to know something? I didn't know anything about Squirrel Girl. Like, I literally don't know anything about Squirrel Girl, you know? I don't know anything about her. The only ones that I know on that list was, what is it? Venom, Spider-Man, Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America. Who else is on that list? Like, I don't even know who the fuck Moon Knight is. I don't even know who that is. I don't even know who Cloak and Dagger is. I don't even know who who those players or those characters are, you know? Magneto. I know Magneto. I don't really know much about Scarlet Witch, to be honest. I don't really know anything. Black Widow. I haven't seen any single movie of Black Widow, to be honest. All I know is that she's a sniper person. That's it. I know nothing about her. Trying to remember them off the top of my head, to be honest, for these characters. What is it? What is it? Fucking Hawkeye? Yeah, I don't really know much about Hawkeye either. So, I don't even know who that is either. I don't even watch celebrity stuff. I don't know who. If you're telling me names of celebrities, I have no idea. So, you're talking to the wrong person for these kinds of things.
By this. I'm losing my mind thinking about the potential for more X-Men characters to hit the roster. I mean, they could pump mutants into this game for years.
She loves nuts a lot.
Still have more to come up.
I remember this cartoon. I've seen this cartoon.
Cyclops, Nightcrawler, Jean Grey. Hell, we can finally have a character in a wheelchair that actually makes sense.
Dude, if they add him in a wheelchair, that would be the most hilarious thing in the entire world, to be honest. That would even make Ubisoft look terrible, to be honest. Oh, man, dude.
You brought me here, Magneto. The next move is yours.
I think that the one thing that many writers and critics are getting wrong about this game, or at least the thing that I think that they're losing sight of, is that the vast majority of players that are coming to play this game are either fans.
Has to be the
of Marvel
floaty one. It will
or
probably be the
spectators.
floating one, to be
That's why
honest.
this game is so successful, and that's exactly what kind of game these developers set out to make. That's why they're delivering on players' needs. That's why players love this game so much. It's been a long time since I've seen a studio so dialed into what players want, and especially
The next move is yours. He has to be in a wheelchair. He has to be in a wheelchair.
Used and abused so many times, and the
Missed
reason why
opportunity
people are
if
so
not.
excited about this game is because we finally have something that's using the Marvel IP that's actually good for once. I mean, the first skins that they produced for the two newest characters is Susan Storm as Malice and Reed Richards as the Maker. While the Fantastic Four have always been known characters, their evil alter egos are some of the most dark and obscure depictions in Marvel. I mean, the Maker lobotomized Tony Stark for an Infinity Stone. These developers are so
That's crazy.
into this game in a way that so very few studios are today, especially when it's not even their own IP. And it's only going to grow this game's audience from here. Rivals is giving players exactly what they want. Thick thighs, the freedom to enjoy the chaos, the power of
Thick thighs. Yep. Thick thighs. Big ass, too, as well, to be honest.
The excitement of Marvel's vast universe of characters. This isn't about appeasing competitive gatekeepers. It's about creating a game that everyone can feel like they can have a blast playing. So maybe instead of
That's why I'm downloading it.
realize that this is the kind of game that's keeping Overwatch awake at night, because Marvel Rivals is everything.
I saw someone in the comment section on one of my YouTube videos. They said, "Why do we want that cosplay? We want you to cosplay Miss Invisible Woman." Apparently, someone wants me to cosplay as Miss Invisible Woman. I'm like, she's pretty easy to cosplay. She's not that crazy or anything like that.
Overwatch isn't. The idea that Rivals is somehow going to run out of gas just blows my mind. How do you have such little brand awareness and you call yourself an industry expert? I could make an entire 7-hour live stream discussing all the different heroes that they could potentially have in Marvel Rivals in the future. I actually should probably do that sometime. You should actually follow me on Twitch if you guys haven't. Catch me live. Maybe we'll talk about that one day.
Hear how you do it? What? Hear how you do it? What?
Characters in alternate universes and all kinds of different things that are out there with different moves and skill sets that they could be able to use in Marvel Rivals.
Take a picture of an empty room.
1602, you could bring in all the 1602 characters, like the characters that are like from the 1600s. Really cool additions, and their powers work a little bit differently and things like that. You could do Marvel Zombies and bring in some of these zombified characters because they also act quite a bit different and would play.
Oh yeah, they have a. I remember. Yeah, I heard about that. Like I saw a comic book when I was passing by or so, because we were going to a comic book store. Because me and my sister went to some random comic book store. We saw that there was like zombie versions of some of these heroes.
Entirely different. That would be really cool. Age of Apocalypse, because that brings back some like ancient mutants and stuff. There's so many different ways that you could go around this and find so many.
That would be
different
pretty
characters
cool,
that are out
actually.
there. I mean, if I was to show my power level, we could start talking about Omega level mutants. And in that case, they only have 2 out of the 16 known Omega level mutants in Marvel Rivals at this moment. If they add Legion,
Who is that? Who is the Omega mutants? DBZ, who is that by any chance? You're the nerd. You should know this. You should know this answer. Who are they? Who are the 2 right now that's in Marvel Rivals? Omega mutants. Interesting. Where are the Alpha mutants at? Where are the Alpha Giga Chad mutants at? Where are they at? I want to know where they at. I want them to add them in the game, you know? Omega mutants. Apparently there's already 2 of them in the game. The Sigmas. Yeah, I need the Sigma mutants. Where are the Sigma mutants at?
I might never play another video game. Incredible TV show, by the way. If you guys never watched Legion on FX, I would totally go watch
Who?
it. It's such a joy to watch. They did such a good job with that TV show. But that's the thing. That's what makes this game so exciting and fun. It's because we don't know what characters are going to come, but we do know what those characters are like.
The Omega lol mutants.
With this brand, with this franchise, and especially the people that are, whether you're a huge fan of Marvel or whether you're
Wolverine and
somebody that
Magneto.
has
Those are the
Fast and
Omega
Furious
mutants,
and you watch
really?
a couple movies, maybe you just really
Interesting.
like the MCU and stuff like that. You're still going to be able to recognize the vast majority of these characters and know exactly what they're going to do. It's not like you're going to be like Iceman. I wonder if
Storm.
he shoots fire. Quicksilver. I wonder what his power is. Most of the characters are self-explanatory, which makes the barrier to entry for this game damn near non-existent. It makes it so easy to get into, and everybody has their favorite characters, so you get to sit back and wait and hope to see if your favorite one comes in, or maybe if your favorite character's already in the game, you're just waiting to see, maybe I'll start learning about some of these other ones, and then you start maybe reading some of the older comics and stuff like that. That's what makes this so cool. I mean,
Yeah, but I'm not gonna read comic books, to be honest. Like, I'm not really a huge superhero girl, so I'm just not a fan of superheroes. I like the gameplay, and the mechanics itself. So, you know, the core gameplay itself is really fun, but like, I don't really care too much about the heroes.
for me specifically, I am actually a legitimate hardcore Marvel fan, but I have not engaged with any of the media for years now because it sucked. I'm just going to be real, and there's going to be a ton of people that are going to agree with me because that's just the way it's been. But like old X-Men, like X-Men 97 and stuff like that, the old comics, even the original first set of MCU movies up to Endgame, kind of. I liked Endgame. I think it was still a really good movie. There's just certain things that I wish they would have done. It just sucks because the IP
You can blame my mom for
you
liking
have
the X-Men.
in with the Infinity War, which doesn't make a lot of sense because the X-Men played a huge role in the Infinity War in the comics, and you guys probably don't really care about any of that stuff, but there are people that do, and because of
Yeah,
that,
but doesn't Sony own the X-Men license, if I remember correctly? Or am I wrong? I don't remember. I think that's probably the only reason why they couldn't add it into the Infinity thing, you know? I remember that Sony owned them. Doesn't Sony own X-Men? Because I know they own Spider-Man.
they haven't been engaging with the brand whatsoever, and this game is one of the first uses of the IP in a long time that effectively use it in a way that makes you want to engage with it and gets you excited about its future. And that's why people are loving this game. So trying to criticize
No, I'm talking about movies. The IP license of movie. Like they own, doesn't Sony own them?
the game for having too many characters, you're out of your mind. That's like saying that people wouldn't have liked Marvel versus Capcom. Did that have too many characters for you? If there is one thing that I've learned, and this is probably the one thing that makes me really hopeful about this game's future, really optimistic about this game's future, is that a lot of these Eastern studios, the minute that they strike gold, they throw all of their weight behind it. They don't try to, scam the players and try to drag them along. They just throw everything they can at them the minute that they get their hands on it, and it's why players keep playing their games. Look at Black Myth Wukong. The game comes out, it gets incredibly successful.
Yep.
They start patching it, fixing some issues in the game, but then they start adding in a boss rush mode. Did you pay for that? No. They added another character for you to be able to play as in a certain area or something like that. I haven't gotten around to do that. I think it's like the Tiger Guy or something like that.
Oh, really? They added something like that? I didn't know about that, actually. That's cool.
They didn't have to do that, They just do it because they appreciate the fans and they want to show those fans that they appreciate them supporting them. And that's how these games continue to be successful. I think Stellar Blade's another really good example of that as well, right?
Still waiting for Stellar Blade to fucking come out on fucking PC. Come on PC already. Fuck, man. Fucking swear to God, man. That fucking game needs to come out on PC for the love of Pete's sakes, man. I'm not buying a fucking Sony console for one fucking game.
They did a lot of collabs and skins and stuff like that that they threw into the game, and I know that's something that those players definitely appreciate. And just like how I appreciate Sue Storm as Malice. Good Lord. You know, I'm not really somebody that likes to buy microtransactions, but when it comes to this game, they are doing a damn good job at putting me in harm's way, or at least my wallets for that. Speaking of harm's way, few of you guys know this, but I actually do live in the Los Angeles area, so I might end up being evacuated or on fire. Let's hope neither. This might, depending on how things go, who knows? This is really one of the only ways for me to say anything to anybody. If something happens for whatever reason, I'll be uploading in a while. Let's just hope that it doesn't, because I really just don't have to deal with that. I'm lazy, man. I don't want to leave. Like, if it's a fire, like maybe like 2 houses down, I'll think about leaving. Anyway.
Well, yeah, at the end of the day, yeah. Hopefully everything is okay with him. But yeah, overall, like, honestly, like, Marvel Rivals has just been popping off, to be honest. It's kind of nice to be hearing that, like, you know, it's funny that the eastern side of the devs are doing a better job than the western side of the devs, even though, like, everything from Asia is usually a knockoff. You know, usually everything from China, right, is usually a knockoff of the western side. But now it looks like it's like the opposite now these days. It looks like the western side is more of a Chinese knockoff to the Chinese version of their games now. So it's very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Like I said, honestly, yeah, like I said, I've been enjoying it. I've had a fun time with Marvel Rivals. It's not like I hate it or anything like that. I just like the core gameplay itself. I'm not really a huge fan of like the heroes themselves. China really #1 now? Yeah, China #1 now. China #1. Like I said, what a very interesting timeline to live, where China is becoming #1 and America is not becoming #1 anymore. That's crazy. That is the most craziest fucking timeline to be living on, where China is actually producing AAA games better than the western side of AAA gaming. That's crazy. But hey, you know what? If American devs want to keep going on the same route with their weird ideologies, that's fine by me, you know? China's just going to take over. China's going to be taking over anyways. But anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. And yeah, you can tell me what you guys think. China #1? China #1.